Focaccia is a popular Italian flatbread known for its rich flavor and delightful texture. Originating from the coastal regions of Italy, focaccia has been a beloved part of Italian cuisine for centuries. It is typically seasoned with olive oil, salt, and sometimes herbs, making it a versatile bread that can be enjoyed on its own or as an accompaniment to various dishes. Making focaccia at home is a rewarding experience. With a few simple ingredients and some basic equipment, you can create a delicious focaccia that rivals any bakery. So let's roll up our sleeves and get started on this culinary adventure. To make focaccia, you'll need a few basic ingredients. These are simple yet essential components that form the foundation of this delicious bread. The essentials include flour, water, yeast, salt, and olive oil. Each of these ingredients plays a crucial role in the texture and flavor of the focaccia. You can also add optional ingredients like sugar or honey to enhance the flavor, and herbs like rosemary or thyme for added aroma. These additions can elevate your focaccia to a whole new level. Here's a detailed list of what you'll need. Make sure to have everything ready before you start. 500 grams of strong white bread flour, which provides the necessary gluten structure for the bread. 325 milliliters of warm water to activate the yeast, 7 grams of instant yeast to help the dough rise, and 10 grams of salt to enhance the flavor. 60 milliliters of olive oil, plus extra for greasing and drizzling. Olive oil not only adds flavor but also helps in creating a crispy crust. Optional: 1 tablespoon of sugar or honey for a touch of sweetness, fresh herbs for an aromatic touch, and sea salt for sprinkling on top to add a burst of flavor. The right equipment can make the process smoother. Having the proper tools at hand ensures that your baking experience is enjoyable and efficient. You'll need a large mixing bowl for combining your ingredients, a measuring jug for precise liquid measurements, a wooden spoon or spatula for mixing, a baking tray to shape and bake your focaccia, and some cling film to cover the dough. A stand mixer with a dough hook can be helpful, but it's not essential. If you prefer, you can mix and knead the dough by hand, which can be quite therapeutic. Cling film is used to cover the dough as it rises, keeping it moist and preventing a crust from forming. This step is crucial for achieving a soft and airy texture. Use extra virgin olive oil if possible, as it adds a richer flavor to the focaccia. The quality of the olive oil can significantly impact the final taste of your bread. Let's start with the dough. Begin by mixing the flour, salt, and instant yeast in a large bowl. If you're using sugar or honey, add it now. Make a well in the center of the dry ingredients and pour in the warm water and half of the olive oil. Mix with a wooden spoon until a rough dough forms. Knead the dough for about 10 minutes until it becomes smooth and elastic. After kneading, shape the dough into a ball and place it in a lightly oiled bowl. Cover the bowl with cling film and let it rise in a warm place for about 1 to 1.5 hours, or until it has doubled in size. The dough-making process is the foundation of a perfect focaccia. Start by gathering all your ingredients and equipment. It's important to measure the ingredients accurately, as the right proportions are key to achieving the desired texture and flavor. Mixing the dough is the first step. Combine the dry ingredients in a large bowl, then add the wet ingredients. Mixing until a rough dough forms ensures that all the flour is hydrated. Kneading the dough is where the magic happens. This step develops the gluten, which gives the bread its structure and chewiness. Whether you knead by hand or use a stand mixer, aim for a smooth, elastic dough. Letting the dough rise is crucial. Place the kneaded dough in an oiled bowl, cover it with cling film, and let it rise in a warm place. After the first rise, gently deflate the dough and transfer it to a baking tray. Section 5. Preparing the dough for baking. This is a crucial step in ensuring your focaccia turns out perfect. Once you've spread the dough on the baking tray and added the dimples, it's time to prepare it for baking. The dimples help to hold the olive oil and toppings, giving the focaccia its characteristic texture and flavor. Drizzle the remaining olive oil over the surface of the dough, making sure to fill the dimples. This step is essential as it ensures that the dough remains moist and flavorful during baking. This not only adds flavor but also helps create a crispy crust. The olive oil will seep into the dough, giving it a rich taste and a beautiful golden color once baked. At this stage, you can add any additional toppings. Popular choices include rosemary, which adds a fragrant aroma, thyme, which gives a subtle earthy flavor, cherry tomatoes for a burst of sweetness, olives for a salty contrast, and caramelized onions for a touch of sweetness and depth. Cover the dough loosely with cling film and let it rise for another 30 minutes. This second rise allows the dough to develop more flavor and a lighter texture. Preheat your oven to 220 degrees Celsius or 428 degrees Fahrenheit while the dough is rising. A properly preheated oven is key to achieving that perfect bake. Once the dough has risen, remove the cling film and give it a final drizzle of olive oil. This last touch of olive oil will enhance the flavor and help the crust to crisp up beautifully. Place the baking tray in the preheated oven and bake for about 20 to 25 minutes, or until the focaccia is golden brown and cooked through. Keep an eye on it towards the end of the baking time to ensure it doesn't overcook. Enjoy your freshly baked focaccia. Section 6. Baking the focaccia. This is where all your hard work comes together to create a delicious aromatic bread. Baking is the final step in making focaccia, and it's crucial to get it right to achieve that perfect texture and flavor. Preheat your oven to 220 degrees Celsius or 428 degrees Fahrenheit to ensure it's hot enough for baking. This high temperature is essential for developing a beautiful crust. A hot oven is key to achieving a crispy crust and a tender, airy interior. The contrast between the crunchy exterior and the soft, fluffy inside is what makes focaccia so special. Place the baking tray in the center of the oven for even heat distribution. This ensures that your focaccia bakes uniformly, avoiding any burnt edges or undercooked centers. As the focaccia bakes, you'll notice the dough puffing up and turning golden brown. This is a sign that the yeast is doing its job, creating those lovely air pockets. The olive oil will seep into the dimples, creating pockets of flavor. These little pools of oil add richness and depth to every bite. After about 20 to 25 minutes, check the focaccia. The exact time can vary depending on your oven, so keep an eye on it. It should have a golden brown crust and sound hollow when tapped on the bottom. This hollow sound indicates that the bread is fully baked and has a nice airy structure inside. Once the focaccia is done, remove it from the oven and transfer it to a wire rack to cool. This prevents the bottom from becoming soggy and allows the bread to set properly. Let the focaccia cool for at least 10 minutes before slicing. This cooling period helps the bread finish cooking and makes it easier to cut. Once cooled, slice the focaccia into squares or strips and enjoy. Whether you eat it plain, dip it in olive oil, or use it for sandwiches, freshly baked focaccia is a treat. Section 7. Customization options. One of the best things about focaccia is its versatility. You can customize it with a variety of toppings to suit your taste. Classic options include rosemary and sea salt, but there are countless other possibilities to explore. For a savory twist, try adding caramelized onions. Try adding cherry tomatoes. Try adding olives. Try adding cheese. These ingredients can be sprinkled over the dough before baking. If you prefer something sweeter, consider adding grapes. Consider adding figs. You can also sprinkle a bit of sugar or drizzle honey on top for an extra touch of sweetness. Fresh herbs like rosemary, thyme, basil, or oregano can be chopped and sprinkled over the dough before baking. Experiment with different combinations to find your favorite. Section 8. Serving suggestions. Focaccia is incredibly versatile and can be served in many ways. It's delicious on its own, but it also pairs well with a variety of dishes. Serve focaccia as an appetizer alongside a selection of dips. Olive tapenade, hummus, and pesto are all excellent choices. Focaccia also makes a great accompaniment to soups and salads. Try pairing it with a classic tomato soup or a mixed green salad with a tangy vinaigrette. For a more substantial meal, use focaccia as a base for sandwiches. Fill them with your favorite ingredients such as grilled vegetables, mozzarella and basil, or prosciutto and arugula. Finally, focaccia can be used as a base for pizza. Section 9. Troubleshooting common issues. Even with the best intentions, sometimes things can go wrong. Here are some common issues you might encounter when making focaccia and how to fix them. If your dough isn't rising, it could be due to old or inactive yeast. Always check the expiration date on your yeast and store it in a cool, dry place. If your focaccia is too dense, it might be because the dough didn't rise enough. Make sure to give the dough plenty of time to rise in a warm place. A tough crust can result from over-baking or using too much flour. If your focaccia is too dry, it could be due to not enough olive oil or over-baking. Make sure to drizzle plenty of olive oil over the dough before baking. Section 10. Conclusion. Making focaccia at home is a fulfilling and enjoyable experience. By following these steps, you can create a delicious focaccia that's perfect for any occasion. Remember, practice makes perfect, and each time you bake focaccia, you learn new tips and tricks to improve your technique. Don't be afraid to experiment with different toppings and flavors. Focaccia is a versatile bread that can be customized to suit your tastes. Enjoy the process, savor the results, and share your homemade focaccia with friends and family. In the end, the most important thing is to have fun and enjoy the journey. So roll up your sleeves, gather your ingredients, and start baking.